straight into what Elyoya can keep his pressure up with instead. Now, building just tanky resistant, keeping scaling going, seeing that they're already very low range is something you can take into account as EG. But you can also say, well, you haven't picked Silas yet. I can take it now. It used to be the one that Jojo wanted to play.
We'll see if he goes for it. I think Elyoya's had enough of this supporting his team gameplay crap. He had Vi in game 1, the Trundle game 2. He wants the hard carry in the Graves performance, but already EG going full defensive mode, more tanky meatballs.
Yeah, but you could also play this one aggressive. Kind of feel your blue team EG is drafting for themselves here, but with the Severin on the Apelios, you can stack the Braum passive really quickly. Having the slow on Kalista is actually really valuable as well. And knowing that Kalista quite often wants to play with an engager, having that Braum is going to be really good, but also having the Kalista, seeing the Renata open, this is a pick that allows you to get so aggressive that you can die, still keep the rend available, and then afterwards finding the execute.
Yeah, another aggressive 2v2 here for the Mad Lions. We'll see how it shakes out this time. EG have done a generally good job of kind of playing good defense and making sure things don't get out of hand, as Impact's going to lose his GP here.
GP taken out was very impactful in that game. I never mean to do it, actually. It always happens. It's a crutch word of mine, and it's unfortunate that a player has that name. But GP, not something you often see banned in the meta, and it speaks to the fact that it allows Impact to play weak side scale up. He actually topped the game in damage charge quietly. As much as we talked about set and all that playmaking, the GP was kind of that insurance policy that game, and they say, all right, we want to make top lane more interesting. Armut actually said that in chat. He said, I will make top lane more interesting this time, Impact. So I think they want to go for a more skill-intensive matchup. We'll see what they end up counterpicking. It will probably be Nisqy taking the blind. One more ban force first for EG, though.
Yeah, but is it really actually in this situation? Because how bot lane has, how top lane has been going, it's not really like the counter matchup has amounted to much, right? First one, it was the rumble into it, and it was still a weak side. It wasn't really a lane that was played for. It's when Armut isn't on the Nah, it's really difficult for them to take charge and actually have a solid lane to play through. They still do it, like you saw in Yawn earlier, but it's not the one that's going to give you the extra oomph, the game lead, the spear that your team needs to play for.
No respect given over to the mid laner. Just go ahead, ban 2 more top laners. Things Armut has played already this tournament. See how far you can push him down. To Mark's point, it does look like a blind here for Nisqy. We'll see what champion he does want to settle on.
Yeah, I mean, once again, I think if you know that you're going to be having a weak side on the top side, I'm down for Armut just blind picking whatever that's still available for himself. But no, it is going to be Nisqy with the Viktor as well coming through, kind of saying, well, if you want to play the Silas, I have the Viktor matchup into you, and I'm going to be happy about that.
We'll see if Jojo wants to play that again. Got slapped down by Humanoid, but Humanoid also has 27 CSD at 15. He's kind of a monster in lane. Jojo not taking that.
This was open.
LeBlanc left open. They banned out one assassin. Still going to be able to find that one.
And it's going to be curious to see how it's going to be piloted from the Mad Lions side, because a lot of it right now, it's about fighting that pressure to play around Elyoya. But the side over from EG, they're built around soaking pressure. From the bot lane to mid lane as well, who's actually able to contest you, having the CC in the early game, to the point where if this is a jungler for Inspired, you have a super solid tank in the top lane that you don't have to worry too much about.
We'll see if he locks in the Lee Sin. The Flex Sejuani comes through.
Smart.
And they're able to get LeBlanc Lee Sin for the 2v2 mid combo to try and bully this Viktor out.
And here's the thing then. Here's the last pick we saved for R5 on Mad Lions. Here's that extra one that needs to hammer it home in terms of putting Armut in a beneficial position. Because if you don't, well, all of a sudden, we have what you said here. You left mid lane out, you blind pick the Viktor, you have LeBlanc and Lee Sin to come through to challenge it, and it looks like Armut is going to go on that Gwen to try and be a menace in a side lane later, but potentially also in team fight if he gets ahead of the curve.
Second most played in summer overall. He had 7 Gnar games, 6 Gwen games. This is the angle that they need for him to generate some pressure, punish EG for flexing the Sejuani up into the top side, taking that tank melee matchup into Gwen. If you can do that, then maybe Nisqy feels better about blinding the Viktor and getting this kind of double counter pick essentially that has come in with the LeBlanc Lee Sin. Also for Mad Lions, bot lane want to see them step up. They have had the aggressive matchup. All 3 lanes have not really found advantages despite that fact.
Yeah, and in terms of proactivity, this is where you want to see the early game proactivity come through from Mad Lions, right? You have a Kalista. That just speaks to playing through the bot lane. You have the Graves as well. That just speaks to like power clearing the camps. Lee Sin does not have the faster clear. Graves is going to be ahead of the curve in terms of tempo. So in terms of resources in gold and experience that Elyoya is going to be good getting for himself, it's going to be better than Inspired. But what Inspired has at the same time in other lanes to play for, right? You have the Braum. If you find a Q on towards the Kalista, should just go down. And you have the 2v2 in the mid lane that we've already talked about.
All right, well, this could be our final game of this series. EG looking to complete the tradition of EU and NA International BO5s being sweeps. NA has not won one of these yet. This is the third time around. We'll see if Mad Lions have an answer here. Would love to see more games. But Evil Geniuses feel like they're starting to build momentum, especially off the back of that second game here. Reminder though, Jojopyun's LeBlanc has shown up already fairly recently in the tournament. Did not win that game against Detonation Focus Me despite how well he played.
Mad Lions looking to repeat that result. They have to win 3 in a row now, complete the reverse sweep to stay alive here and get into the group stage of Worlds, as well as avoid the dubious honor of being the second time that Mad Lions is the only major region team to not advance from play-ins.
And that's almost the worst part, right? But of course, getting to Worlds also feeling pretty good, yeah?
Yeah.
But EG, I mean, let's be real, definitely seem like the teams who's deserving it the most at the moment. But of course, it is the best of 5 series. There is loads of time for Mad Lions to find a reverse sweep, and Trevor, high on copium, is even talking about how Inspired has been reverse swept before in a best of 5 situation.
Well, you know what might help, Trevor? Some free digital goods, gamers. Remember to link your Amazon Prime account, and you can go ahead and receive some free in-game content. I got many lovely tweets yesterday, so if you could do Guldborg the honor of adding him on Twitter and saying, hey buddy, don't forget to pick up your digital goods.
Oh my god, what have you just set me out to do?
Yeah,
Well,
it's gonna be great, don't worry, you'll love it.
He's trying to help you out because right now EU has not given you any gifts.
Jesus Christ. Well,
I'm just saying.
I'm seeing loads of gifts. Have you not seen Inspired? That's our MVP.
That's
right
my MVP.
Oh.
Your MVP? I made this.
Yeah, exactly.
So Mad Lions comp, I feel like even with the Viktor in the mid lane, do have some pressure to make things happen early game. They are very, very fragile as a composition. No true tanks. Gwen maybe the best frontliner just based off the immunity, but realistically, you know, there's not that much sturdiness in the composition. EG's bot lane want to play more reactive. Topside want to play more reactive. It's only the mid jungle that they want to target and set that Viktor behind.
Yeah, and I think as well, in terms of a game plan that you currently have, as a Graves, as we already talked about, you clear fast. You want to get into the enemy jungle to abuse the fact that you have a faster clear. The problem that Elyoya has for himself right now is the fact that they have no aggressive wards in terms of tracking Inspired. They actually have no idea knowing where he is. So had he started topside and made his way down towards the bot side, now Elyoya could look for an invade. But because Inspired started on the bot side, moved his way up towards the top side, and now Elyoya is on the bot side instead, there's no real way of capitalizing on having this jungle matchup as of right now, at least.
We'll have to see. We see Ping going down into the top river tri-brush. Inspired skipped blue buff, wants to come at this awkward timing window here. Armut extended in the lane, has Ghost, no flash.
Not quite level 3 there for Impact, but might be relatively close. Now dings it. That's going to be the call for Inspired to join up. It's no flash, it's Ghost only. Armut going to pop up, but Impact already on there. Needs a one more auto. That's going to be the stun. Lines it up. Inspired knocks it down. It's first blood again, this time to the EG jungler.
Great stuff from Inspired. He even skips the camps, just start out with the red bot Raptors into the Gromp, and now goes back to clear the blue buff. So he's ahead of the tempo in a position where Armut is just not expecting there to be a jungler.
It's really important for Mad Lions too to try and keep pressure up in the side lanes.
No way.
Ooh, not going to have the W up. Nisqy has flash still.
And does have teleport as well. So remember, there's a TP advantage currently. So the HP that Jojo has burned, Nisqy's going to recall now. He's going to come back with the refillable. He's probably going to come back, unless Jojo wants to really get on the tower here and see if he can stop it. But Nisqy's going to come back with the Doran's Ring and more refillable. Still, really smart pathing by Inspired here. Once again, realizing the ward has been dropped, goes up towards the tri-bush and finds the play.
I was going about how they have side lane pressure for both side lanes for Mad Lions. That's critical for the Graves because you don't really have great ganks set up in any of your lanes, except maybe bot lane if Renata can land the handshake. So what you really want to do is play with pressure in your side lanes to now Graves to find these kinds of invades into the jungle. But if Inspire can disrupt the pressure that the bot lane and top lane have, that will also kind of hamper Elyoya, who is an incredible carry jungler, power farming, getting himself fed in games, but this is another way to kind of attack that game plan. I was talking about the mid-jungle combo, but this is kind of plan B.
Exactly, this is what we want to track in this game, specifically through the two junglers. How far ahead can Elyoya get individually, and how much can Inspired get done for his team while he's fighting against a Graves that's just going to be faster than him. So far, Inspired's already back. Elyoya's still on the map, have not resets yet a single time, and they're still quite even, and of course First Blood going over to Inspired. That's a win for EG in the early game.
Elyoya does finally go back though, spend some of that money, as looks like bottom lane has also recalled here for Mad. Kaori actually 10 CS ahead in that 2v2, interestingly. Not quite sure how we got there, but I'm going to go back now and spend their money.
Stay the extra wave, and it's a pretty massive collapse as
Jojo flashes, misses chain, and that's just a flash down. That's worth it from Mad Lions.
all right. First little win of the game for Mad Lions' favor, relieving some of that mid lane pressure. Oh, come on. They were doing better in game one. That was a very, very close game. You have to remember, game one involved a flash smite steal from
that's true.
Inspired. That game felt like it could have gone either way. EG did start pulling ahead at the end, but game two was the only one that was really a runaway. So maybe Mad Lions a little bit closer in the series than it might feel at first.
Vulcan dashes over, does have the W if he wants to jump to Inspired afterwards. They get the intel that Drake has been started. Nisqy is on a reset timer in the mid lane, so is Jojo. So it looks like the Drake is just going to be disengaged by both teams as top laners have a very close brawl up here.
Impact does have Ignite. He's actually relatively close to 6 as well. Don't think there's an angle, but you never know. Good little cue there from Kaiser. Handshakes Vulcan back down towards Unforgiven, but things are settling down. Unforgiven's even the CS back up, so it must have just been a wave thing. As I pointed out earlier.
Impact did stop a recall on Armut. Doesn't have enough. Oh, here we go.
Flash, slow, Q, solo, easy bolo there for Inspired.
Oh, Impact and Inspire comboing together, making Armut pay in the top side. This last pick, Gwen, we talked about it wanting to punish the melee tank of Impact, not happening so far.
And Impact in all chat, he did promise Armut he was going to make that top lane more exciting. So far, it's very exciting for EG. Armut, not sure how fun he's having it right now.
No, I was thinking that... Oh, Chain will finish completing, but under turret safely. I was thinking that Impact didn't have enough mana in that situation to really threaten the dive himself, but stopping the recall was huge. It allowed Inspired to make it up there. Inspired at 2-0 also critically the one getting the kills, making it easier to spread that gold advantage around. A 1,000 gold lead now for EG.
And the question really is, when does Mad Lion want to start the attack there they potentially have, want to get aggressive? Because so far it looks like game one where it's not really coming and it's going to be about them finding objectives here and there, see what they can get on the map, because they don't really have an immediate form of engage. If you start off the objective yourself, you will have the hostile takeover to kind of put on your opponent when they walk into you. But outside of that, it's actually very difficult for Mad Lions to fight a fight out of nowhere.
I feel bad for Nisqy as well, getting kind of like we talked about that double counter pick, but he has done a great job surviving this lane phase thus far.
Impact, what a roam! That's gonna be the kill in mid lane, and Jojopyun capitalizes.
You had to say that, right? You just had to say that.
Man, I can't not say it. I got to get one for the boys. No. I was just saying, I legitimately felt bad for Nisqy because he had been playing this so well, and this topside matchup, which should not really have pressure, able to make roams down the mid lane. Impact is so good about snowballing his leads with his team.
And we see this so many times, like specifically with top laners. Sometimes you can get a beneficial back, you can get deep wards, but Impact just decides to use his downtime, move into the mid lane, and then move up towards the top side afterwards, where the wave he crashed has now slow pushed back into him, and he's not losing a single thing by making this play.
No, still up about 10 CS for that one. Getting the first kill onto Nisqy. Nisqy does still have his flash, so it might not be chained as easily. Mad trying to make them pay for burning the ultimate on Sejuani. Not available if they want to take this 3v3 topside. Both bot lanes still just hovering bot. Looks like EG are going to sack this one. Inspired might go for a tricky Q, smite steal W out.
Jojo going to poke in here as well. They know the enemy bot lane is still there. Elyoya, though, does successfully finish the Herald. Fade's call pop. Vulcan, the target, hand shook back. Bounces back to Kaori, though, and should be okay for now. But Vulcan, a lot of spears there. The Ren pulled out. But Kaiser now going to get turned back around. Kaori knows the coast is clear, but isn't that clear? Unforgiven jumping back in. Exhaust is there. Great Winter's Bite there for Vulcan. Needs to slow things down, but Unforgiven still chasing.
E-slow, Q coming up.
Not enough spears, but the Q is there. And the damage isn't enough as Nisqy solos out Jojo.
At least on the other side they get one, but signs of lives as well from the Mad Lions bot lane. They're so close to picking it up, and I actually think Unforgiven took a step back, too afraid to take the all-in into the chakram guns coming through from the Apelios, and that just allowed Kaori to get away from the engage.
Mad Lions, like you said, though, finding the Rift Herald, finding the solo kill in mid lane on Jojo. Still have pressure on the tail end of that play. Like you said, not able to actually get one last auto onto Kaori. But with that pressure, able to grab some turret plates, and finally, Unforgiven and Kaiser having the aggressive picks, finding a kill. This just looks like Jojo,
he's flexing.
Yeah.
Oh, does not get the full extension of that W either. Tries to go back, but finds Armut.
I mean, you take the good and the bad with Jojo here, trying to make something happen. does get caught out. I said solo kill, very wrong about that one, happening in the middle of 3 people.
It's an isolated death, but not really a solo kill, being gifted over to Nisqy afterwards. And
That's
did we? Yeah, unfortunately.
The eyes bugging out of his head there. Artemis surprised what his mid laner chose to do on that one. Still EG, 1,000 gold lead, but once this Rift Herald gets a crash down, most likely in bot lane is where I would expect to see Mad Lions try and snowball. Might be able to grab a foothold into this game and in this series.
That's a potential. I could also see Mad Lions be the kind of team that want to just get it in the mid lane, get Nisqy more gold into this specific matchup. Now, bot lane is the name of the game right now. You can see both junglers are down here. Vulcan gets a bit aggressive against Kaiser, and Jojopyun's also around the area.
Yeah, but Elyoya going to be the first to strike. Inspired down here as well, though. Again, has that early gold, so it's pretty strong, but play's going to dissipate.
Vulcan, nice job forcing Kaiser up into the river into Jojo's waiting arms. Elyoya wanted to cover, but still got the flash out. Jojo should have W, should be fine. Just getting some chunk and denying a couple creeps the shorter path available. Mad Lions cover that play, do lose flash on Kaiser. I was going to say the scary thing for EG's bot lane was when Unforgiven's ultimate came back up, then you can just kind of yeet the Renata in there, but losing that flash means it's a lot more dangerous for him if you use that aggressively.
And I really thought that there was a window there. They could have used it in mid lane with the Rift Herald from Mad Lions. Then I looked top lane, and I saw Impact just proxying and having leeway into the mid lane immediately. The fact that Impact can just do this every single time to pressure Nisqy means that they can't play through this Viktor as they would have liked to into the LeBlanc matchup.
He is asking himself, is it singed? It's not, but he's, channeling some of the energy there between the two towers.
Most certainly.
Little dirty farming there on top side. Drake is up and available. Inspired finds the Q. Jojo under fire. Elyoya gonna get kicked back in. Very nice alley-oop, and Elyoya is gonna die to Jojo as Impact now in mid lane. Gonna get rendered, but not enough damage. And Unforgiven, are you too far forward? Vulcan tries to make the play. The hostile takeover, though, absolutely wild out of Kaiser, and Unforgiven is gonna find the Kaori. Kaori with the turnaround of all turnarounds. Inspired is just too strong.
What a massive Apelios ultimate that comes down for Kaori there before he finally goes down. Look good from Mad Lions bot lane in the beginning. Great side steps from Unforgiven on the ultimate as well that came out from Vulcan. Hostile takeover even better, but it's the turnaround of that play where EG strikes back.
The substitute bot laner for EG showing no fear. We've been talking about top lane, jungle, mid lane. He says, don't forget about me. Absolutely massive blue gun ult to save this fight. It starts well for EG. Nice flash ult pickoff. They blow him up. Impact's a little bit too far forward. And then instead of just kind of backing out of this team fight, they really want to turn this one and punish Unforgiven, but the nice sidestep there, denying the knockup, allows him to keep getting this damage out. Also, Nisqy dropping a ton of damage himself, but then here goes Kaori. Q ult, as well as getting the spray of the gun onto all 4 members.
And a big problem here is that the bailout from Kaiser actually went on towards Nisqy, so it didn't allow Unforgiven to keep an extended team fight on the Kalista instead, and, well, this is a face that says 1,000 words.
I appreciate the Artemis cam. The angle is very
You
squarely
can see
pointed
an
at the most
optimist and a
face.
pessimist between the two coaches. Peter's just kind of sitting like, oh, I don't know about that. And then, well, very happy on the other side.
I mean, it is a very scrappy game. Signs of life, like we said a couple times for Mad Lions here. That skirmish going in the favor of EG. I'm not sure where the crash went down. Looks like mid lane. I'm going to assume.
It was mid lane.
Okay, was able to get some more gold funneled onto Nisqy. Currently, 4,500 gold. Him, Elyoya, Armut, all around the same amount. Richest in the game, though, belonging to Inspired and Impact and Kaori, all above 5K.
I'm curious to see when they want to get more aggressive, but now plays are still active. 30 seconds, 20 seconds till they fall, so they want to utilize this at most from inside of EG before they start looking at any other objectives, like the Ocean Soul that could be up for grabs. Having a lot of members on the bot side, which then requires Inspired to walk into the mid lane, or not Inspired actually, Impact to walk into the mid lane, while they've had Jojo on the top side.
No TP either for Armut, so I think this Drake should be EG's if they want to start it.
Yeah, having a Jojo match with TP on top side means that they do have that advantage where Armut cannot come in. Impact just came up. We'll see if they want to go back to traditional lane states. Oh, they're just brute forcing this.
Impact just going straight forward. Fatescall's going to pull out Kaiser. Tower is still there, don't forget. But now he pops back out. Hostile takeover's decent, but Inspired is diving in onto them. Still though a 3v3. Looks like the TP got cancelled by Nisqy's ulti.
Yeah, Nisqy's ulti, I believe, dropped down there on Impact channels. Second time EG have forgotten that seems to work, and Jojo had a funny TP earlier on in group stage, but still so much stronger, even in the 3v3, even without Impact finishing that channel. They're still able to force them back, get the defensive ultimate out of Unforgiven, and buy themselves this first Dragon of the game 15 minutes in.
But one thing is for certain, they're not backing down from Mad Lions. Like, they're not playing scared. The fact you see Kaiser take that Kalista ultimate, throw himself in there to try and get the ultimate, they're still looking for stuff. I'm not sure if it benefits them just yet, because in the end, it's still EG fighting all the plays. It's still EG finding the objective. But at least it's a sign of life that can keep you hopeful, if anything.
Yeah, also, we're able to, I believe, trade up sums in that skirmish. Vulcan lost his exhaust, Kaori lost his flash. I believe that's still overall, in terms of that individual skirmish, a net positive. Yes, EG gets the Dragon on the tail end of that, but given the double teleport advantage that EG had anyways, that Dragon was going to be theirs.
Yeah, this game feels a lot more like Game 1, which I think was a very close affair. At this point, yes, EG are up about 2,000, 2,500 gold. It seems like they're staying proactive. Inspired, obviously, very impactful right now in this early game, but that game was close and kind of got away from Mad really towards the very end of the mid-game. So plenty to play for here for Mad, which obviously they need to. There's no games left to lose.
Yeah, but even then, there's so much playmaking potential for EG, right? They have a Sejuani ultimate. If they catch anyone off guard, they still have the LeBlanc chains to play around with. And you have to mention Inspired. He's been an MVP on this Lee Sin once again, just finding the first few kills and continuing to apply the pressure that really makes just Mad Lions crumble so often.
Yeah, the parallels between these two teams in Summer Split has been insane. The fact that you have the 4 all-pro first teams on both teams, the top laners left off, both teams having the MVP, both teams finishing the regular season in first place, both teams having a bit of a collapse in playoffs to go as the last seed for their regions. Now playing for the final spot in group stage. EG are up, but these two teams have had to show their grit over the course of Summer Split.
It's going to be MVP Inspired versus MVP Nisqy, at least for this kind of section of the mid-game, because Leandros is now done. Nisqy has navigated very nicely on the Viktor. 1 death to be sure, but still up in CS, still farming nicely, trying to contain Jojo down here on Mad, as Elyoya is going to roam on down. Jojo hits him with a thumbs up, double distorts away, and see you later.
Yeah, it's a great stuff from Jojo. He's going to get out of the play Mad Lions. They're trying to cross-map it. They are not feeling a contest on the Herald side. That just means that when you're not able to get the kill, that's another victory for EG in terms of the macro plays currently happening.
Still appreciate Mad Lions' ability to overload a side of the map and get it. They did this a lot in Game 1 with the Vi to find picks. Here, they're overloading Jojo's side so they can trade turrets because they realistically did not feel like they could contest that Rift Herald, so this will get dropped mid to break mid lane turret finally. Assuming this can get in, they're kind of leaving it all alone. There it goes. Doesn't finish off the turret. Shelly, one more auto, gets distracted, dies, but they'll grab that one in a second. And Jojopyun was actually able to defend the bot lane turret as well because Mad moved up to defend there.
It sets it up for the next wave when you have the rotation. Someone's going to have to inspire him. But you say you have to respond to the pressure that Impact is applying on the top side here. Once you have multiple members around the other lane states, because the side lanes right now are just in favor of EG, that's when you walk up and take care of that turret. For the Mad Lions side, when those things happen, that's where you're looking to see if you can catch someone out of position when they are making rotations. But for now, that's not what we're going to be looking at, because resets are coming through.
Yeah, extra gold for Impact off that play as well. Good enough to actually buy a second tank item. He's pretty scary. Those 4 assists, adding some nice extra gold.
Not a believer. He's not a disciple of the Anathema's chains, as Inspired is every time he's grabbing that one. Impact going full tank build. Rushing Force of Nature makes sense against double AP solo lanes. The physical damage is no joke. Kalista by herself would be a little too little, I think, but given that they have Graves as a backup, bursty marksman thing, going the Eclipse Glaive build will have a ton of damage there. Means that you can't just stack MR against these guys.
Just looking at items right now, despite the gold lead, of course, being in favor of EG, in terms of just finding a team fight, Mythics are still competed for both teams. And the only one sitting on 2 items right now is Impact on that front line instead of the top side with fairly cheap items. So Mad Lions are certainly not ruled out of the game, and it's also the reason why you see EG scale the tempo down a little bit. But with so many members showing on the bot side for EG, they're just going to get, you know, the mid lane turret we talked about earlier and apply pressure on the top side instead.
Yeah, EG responding well. Kind of citing that Mad Lions rotation down the bot lane, that pink ward giving Jojopyun the little bit of advanced notice he needed to make sure he got out of there. And again, Mad Lions are just slow to take the turret plate. They get that one, but 2 for 0 in the turret trades. EG up to 3,500 gold lead.
And that's the story of the game right now, right? Mad, they get something. EG, they get more. And it just seems like it's going to continue to go that way. The reason why it's so difficult for Mad Lion to break the wheel, to break the tempo, it's the fact that they don't have some immediate engage, right? They're so reliant on finding someone out of position. And right now with EG, they're just playing so standard. It's a 1-3-1. They're not really making complicated rotations. They're just waiting for Mad Lions to make a move. And then EG actually just responds with it afterwards.
Well, we'll learn a lot, perhaps in 20 seconds, if the teams do want to scuffle around this Dragon. EG got the first one, but it was fairly late. So if it's a slower game, that Dragon stacking is going to eventually come online, but isn't going to be rushing kind of like Game 2. That was kind of the anomaly. I feel like that game snowballed out of control very quickly. This one is, again, much more like Game 1, even though EG, to Gulborg's point, they're doing a very good job.
None of the games have come down to Dragon stacking yet. Game 1 was the closest, but again, the game was kind of decided before that soul point fight happened. Here, again, it's very slow, but it's an interesting game for Mad Lions where in terms of damage between Gwen, Graves, Viktor, you have a ton that you're going to just keep scaling throughout the game. You don't necessarily need to contest this. It's just about how the team comps interact, having to punch through so much more tankiness with that damage of a Braum, of a Sejuani, and even Inspire getting pretty tanky with the Maw completed.
That's all they can look for. EG, they have control on the bot side. They try to look for Jojo with Mad Lions, but who's going to lock him down? That's right, no one. So they just get the Drake and they get out. And now Impact, or Armut rather, on the top side, see so many members on the bot side, wants to see if he can get some turret damage, but the response, once again, is just so swift from Evil Geniuses.
Evil Geniuses as a team working very well together. Got to give a head tap to Nisqy in the side lane. Can be difficult to play until LeBlanc leads in the side lane, but has been just fine. Up 30 CS now, matching Impact and Kaori kind of as some of the most farmed members. Unforgiven as well, keeping his CS up. Does feel like a lot of this game's team fights will hinge on Kaiser and his ability to lock down the relatively short range comp of EG. Melee's on the top side. Jojopyun, not a melee champion, but will usually end up 2 inches away from someone's face if you distort in.
So I'm just going to say, right now, if these team fights breaks out, I heavily favor EG, right? With all the things that's currently happening, with the gold lead, with the CC that they have. One thing I can see that will really work out for Mad Lions if they get the right circumstance is the fact that Apelios does not have cleanse. You're playing into the Renata. Quite often that's a must, because if you get the correct gun, you get hit by that hostile takeover, you will just kill your entire team.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Kaori not only is the best sub for EG, he'll be the best sub for Mad Lions too.
Trying to make a play on Nisqy, looking for the E. Nisqy definitely dodges it alongside Impact's ulti. Again, have to recalibrate. Here's the jungler now. Make it 3-4-1, but I think the turret's going to be all they get. Vulcan's here as well. Okay. Nisqy dodging every skill shot. Inspired says dodge this, you can't. There's the fight. Oh, a bit of a nombo into the ultimate there out of Braum, and he's going to get away.
Okay, EG finally swapped their resources down to the bot side of the map. The correct macro play, micro-wise, bit of a misplay. Nisqy was able to fancy feet out of everything, and then like you said, the knock-up on the kickback means that Nisqy's still in range to keep comboing onto Inspire. Does lose his flash at the tail end of that. 1-for-1. Only though because they did get Nisqy's flash earlier on. Does buy Armut time to grab top turret.
Yeah, so in terms of the objective, they actually trade even. You get Nisqy's flash, but you also burns Inspired flash. So in terms of everything, EG's not really looking to get even at this point. They want to get ahead at every single play they're making because they're the team that's driving the tempo. So Mad Lions, good on them for finally finding an objective that goes even for them. But then again, it's not really so much in their own kind of... Well, they have to play reactive, is just really what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, they're so far behind at this point. The 3,000 gold lead, like we talked about, but also the Dragon stats as well. It's up to EG where these fights kind of happen on the map, and Mad have to match it. I did like your point, though, about the guns for Kaori in these team fights. Normally, you heard the saying, red-white, don't fight, because you get the chakram stacking and get the insane lifesteal. It becomes a very hard champion to kill.
For me, it's red-white, Danish dynamite, but yeah, yours is cool too.
Less league relevant, but indeed a nice saying. But it also holds true now for EG. Maybe you don't want to fight if the hostile takeover.
Impact nails it. Cleanse is good though, but the follow-up is there. That's a very nice handshake to disengage. TP coming in and EG say, okay, that's good enough.
And one thing to notice as well is that Braum shield actually blocks that hostile takeover, so Kaiser, there's a reason why he couldn't throw it out immediately there as well. So it makes it very difficult. Despite it being a good chokehold, Mad Lions just couldn't commit to it. In EG, they force Mad Lions once again outside of their own jungle. Red buff is spawning now, and that's more neutral gold that they can pick up.
Yeah, I got the cleanse out for Unforgiven, so I don't think that will be up for the Dragon fight. Does mean that he'll be slightly more open of a target as Jojo's starting to hurt. Still only on one item. About to complete that Shadow Flame. He's only at 150 gold, actually, so probably won't have that one in time for the Dragon fight.
Baron just getting straight up started up here. Red gun is available for Kaori. He's getting rid of the Gravito Massive right now, seeing if he can get the better ones. And there you have it. Red-white don't fight, as you say, Mark, but potentially us. Also a saving grace for Mad Lions if they get the correct fight here.
They know now as well. Jojo actually looking for the flank. They are going to look to make the turn. Gwen is immune. and Armut will be safe. EG now a little bit worse for wear, as Mad maybe look for the counter engage, but no one's pulling the trigger just yet. Again, to your point, Gulberg, not that many engage tools for the Mad Lions.
You can sense the tension for the team fight there for both teams. No one is really willing to pull the trigger too hard and be the one that throws away either the lead or gets right back into the game.
It's so funny that Vulcan is kind of this line of scrimmage for both teams. If you end up in front of him for EG side, you're open to this hostile takeover. But as long as that is between him and Mad Lions, they can't really engage for Mad Lions. So if they can't get away past the Braum, it's very difficult. I'm surprised EG are starting this one up again. Inspired getting low.
Committed a TP for it as well. Good little gravity while they're in the choke. Chaos Storm is nice. Vulcan bops away though. Ulti out of Kaori is going to be countered by Fate's Call as Kaiser is pulled back.
Ooh.
Oh no, he's just dead. He walks into the turret.
The little turrets!
He didn't see it.
Jojopyun now keep going. Inspired also is tagged up by Elyoya, but again, a bit of restraint. Now we get him feint in. Goes once more. Q lands onto Unforgiven. Impact finds the ulti onto Nisqy. Trying to make the big plays here. Inspired with the kick. Jojopyun shuts down the enemy. Kalista. Elyoya's gonna die as well. EG have done it again.
Who wins 4th seed from a major region? A one small little turret just waiting and chilling there. Baron gets started off by EG now. 4 members of the Mad Lions dead, and EG looking to capitalize.
Baron free for EG. We talked about how important Kaiser's teamfight ultimate was going to be, but he just dies before it even happens. And once they see that down, EG are willing to blitz Mad Lions. You're going to see it here. A not super clean turn. Impact doesn't end up on any of the priority targets. Inspired's getting chunked down by the Baron. They get a lot of resources out of Mad Lions. It should be a disengaged situation here, especially after Kaori misses this, but Kaiser wants to get vision control, doesn't see this, hit once. There's the auto, I believe it was.
And the thing here is as well that from the Sebrum, it actually changed before the fight started to the Calibrum instead. So it changed from red to blue, which allowed him to get the sniper, something that potentially Kaiser just wasn't aware of when he saw that little turret. And as soon as they see one member dead, rest of EG spot him at Lions out of position. They have the tools to start the team fight, and they take it.
He's yelling no flash. That's all I can glean. Artemis continues to provide endless entertainment this game. EG is starting to feel the momentum ticking forward for them.
Yeah. We have the extended Artemis cam because underneath that replay,
No!
we have hit a pause. I'm not quite sure what it was.
Vulcan.
EG's already winning.
blame
Why is this
Vulcan.
happening?
Vulcan, the pause lord himself, has had to pause the game. Hopefully we can get an update. Yeah, it's a Vulcan pause. He might not be the one who actually has the error, but he might just be the pause captain elected to be the one kind of typing it in quickly.
That makes sense. He is the support after all.
What do you mean by that?
Comms issue, I assume. He just does stuff for his team. You know, he's good.
If someone's like, my monitor exploded, he's like, I got you, bro.
Yeah, he helps draft the tweets. You know, he's probably maybe doing the coffee run in the morning. I bet Vulcan probably does a lot in and out of game.
Vulcan has quietly become arguably the best support in North America. During the time where Core JJ had been dominating, he has quietly racked up more titles in the past 3 years. He has 3 titles now. Here, now potentially on the verge of giving North America their first ever win in a series over Mad Lions in international play. Rift Rivals notwithstanding, that was a more for fun tournament in terms of MSIs and Worlds. Never before has North America even taken a game in a series, and now they're on the verge of a sweep.
That's actually crazy. That's something you don't really think about too often as well when you just see it as well. But the entire EG roster, of course, from the get-go, was a project with youths and veterans as well coming through. And the fun thing is here that while Inspired has been absolutely great, Jojo as well has been one of the potential franchise players for this team as well in terms of how well he's been performing.
Sure hope so, given how well the kid's been playing, especially on the biggest stage. This Red Bull Baron is starting to do numbers up against Mad Lions as Jojopyun is continuing to get aggressive. Inspired, not going to take this one, but again, every time he hits it, plays the little game in his head, perhaps flips a coin internally.
Super simple. You play in 2 lanes. One lane is being pushed in by Impact. The rest of them are pushing on the bot side, and you just move the pressure back and forth. Right now, you don't care what's happening on the top side. You keep it simple, you keep it close, and you keep it comfortable.
Especially with Impact being so tanky, 3 items completed. He's a very difficult one man to try and pick off for Mad Lions. It would be an overextension if they did. They're going to have to rely on just wave clear available from Nisqy.
Game is rapidly getting out of control though. This gold lead is going to be about 10,000 after Inspired finishes off that tower in mid. It's not quite there just yet, but damage getting done. And Mad Lions, again, not really the tools to get things started, but they must do something.
slowly bleeding here. Mid lane slowly but surely falling down. Engage comes out. Impact starts
Started again. Armut this time can't get up the W. Jojo low, but he's gonna go back out of the Kaori on a killing spree. Coming up clutch when it matters is Inspired. Fainting in once again. Buying time, buying space, as this might be it.
Baits the flash out of Nisqy. Kaiser dead. 4v5 base defense needed here by Mad Lions to keep their world's dreams alive. Second inhibitor falls.
Impact does have teleport. He's recalling now. He wants to set it up as the TP instead. He gets stopped, but they continue.
They're going for it. EG know that it's so close. They're saying, I am the fire, you are but smoke. Threading the win is EG with Inspire charging on in. Kaori's on a rampage. EG looking to wipe the Lions off the rift, and they fights off their demons and takes down Mad Lions.
For the first time in international competition history, North America beats Europe in a best-of-5, a clean 3-0 sweep for the third seed of North America to move on to the main stage of groups.
I was here. I was here in the midst of it all.
We couldn't do it without you, Goldberg.
Watching NA, not only just taking EU down, but completely, and I mean this, completely